Abandoned New Amsterdam building completely destroyed in third fire incident. Newsroom. An abandoned building in New Amsterdam, Region 6, was completely destroyed by fire on Thursday, marking the third time the structure has caught a blaze. The first fire occurred in December 2024. After firefighters responded to the initial call, another alert was made hours later when the building was observed on fire for a second time. The building is located next to the Churchview Hotel and the Nalico/Nafico Insurance Company. Last year, police suspected that the building was being used by vagrants. Regional Fire Officer Clive MacDonald confirmed that the second fire last year was an act of arson. Missing Venezuelan woman abducted and feared dead. Guyana News. Police believe that a Venezuelan woman who disappeared 15 days ago may have been abducted and murdered. The victim, Miguel Centeno, worked at a bar in Eccles, East Bank Demerara, EBD, and reportedly left work around 1 a.m. on the day she went missing. Police have issued a wanted bulletin for a Brazilian man identified as Teles Pereira, whom they wish to question regarding Centeno's abduction in Diamond, EBD. She was reportedly last seen getting into his truck. Centeno's friends revealed that she lived in Timeri, EBD, but stayed in Diamond after late shifts for safety reasons. They noted that the suspect and Centeno were not acquainted. She had simply asked him for a lift home while hitchhiking. Since then, she has not been seen or heard from. Investigators have located skeletal remains at 9 Mile, Mabura Trail, Region 10, and are conducting DNA testing to determine if they belong to Centeno. Investigations continue as family members brace for the worst. Security guard tells police he shot himself after being taken to hospital with gunshot wound. Newsroom. A security guard is currently receiving treatment at the Georgetown Public Hospital after sustaining a gunshot wound early Thursday morning at Cummings Lodge, East Coast, Demerara. The incident occurred around 2 a.m. Lionel Duke, a 22-year-old supernumerary constable with a security service, was on duty at the time, carrying a 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 10 live rounds of ammunition, according to police reports. Duke stated that he entered the washroom on the eastern side of the compound, where he reportedly removed the firearm from his pants pocket to clear it. For reasons not specified, the firearm discharged, and Duke was struck in his right foot below the knee. Following the shooting, Duke contacted a friend, a 23-year-old businessman from Parafate Harmony, West Bank Demerara, who came to his aid and transported him to the Georgetown Public Hospital for medical attention. Police arrived at the scene around 4:30 a.m. and found one spent 9mm shell in the washroom area. The firearm, along with 9 live rounds of ammunition, was seized and lodged at the Turkian police station. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. Government will soon commence distribution of one-off grant for newborn babies. Jagdeo. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo confirmed on Thursday that the government will soon begin distributing a one-off cash grant of $100,000 for newborn babies. He made the announcement during his weekly press conference, noting that he has been discussing the matter with President Dr. Irfan Ali. Once distribution starts, Jagdeo stated that the government aims to provide the grant in real time, or shortly after the baby is born. Additionally, the distribution will be retroactive, ensuring that families of all babies born since January 1, 2025, will receive the grant. Every child born from the 1st of January would be eligible, he said. As part of key budgetary measures to support the population, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh announced earlier this year that a one-off $100,000 voucher would be given for every newborn baby. This announcement was made as he concluded his presentation of the 2025 national budget. The voucher will be available for every newborn baby born in Guyana to a Guyanese mother. Woman remanded for $5 million land fraud. Guyana News. A 47-year-old housewife was remanded to prison on Wednesday after appearing at the Georgetown Magistrates Court to face charges of obtaining money by false pretenses. The defendant, Vimla Sankar of Quinton Street, Betsy Ground, East Kanj Burbus, appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty. Sankar was not required to plead to the indictable charge, which alleges that she fraudulently obtained money from Totaram Laubacan and Errol Pitt. The prosecution informed the court that Sankar misrepresented her ability to secure plots of land for both Laubacan and Pitt. Between May and December 2024, she reportedly collected $2.4 million from Laubacan and $3 million from Pitt. Pitt testified that the initial cost for his land was $6 million. However, Sankar advised him that he could pay in installments, starting with at least half of the original amount. Magistrate McGusty remanded Sanker to prison and adjourned the matter until April 2, 2025. Rape allegations against son, politically motivated, Mohammed says. Qaeda News. Guyanese businessman Nazar Shell Mohammed has accused social media commentator Mikhail Rodriguez, known as the Guyanese critic, of politically motivated actions following an interview he broadcasted with a 17-year-old girl who accused Mohammed's son, Azruddin Mohammed, of sexual abuse. In a video posted on Facebook Tuesday night, Shell Mohammed defended his son and questioned the validity of the allegations. He suggested that the incident was orchestrated by individuals connected to the People's Progressive Party government, stating, "For this man to fabricate these lies. It has been confirmed that this was a plan by people very close to this administration. I want to make it very clear that I have instilled values in my family," he added. "I'm very disturbed about this because this is no joke, and I want to thank the public for standing with Azruddin. The plan was that if the public bought into it and applied pressure, things would have gone differently." Mohammed noted that his son reported the matter to the police, but expressed frustration that the Guyanese critic had not yet shown up at the station to provide a statement or identify the individual involved. "I just can't understand how people can be so evil to do something like this," he said. Azruddin Mohammed stated that he voluntarily reported the matter to the police the day after the interview was aired. He filed a report at the Brickdam police station and was informed he would be contacted for updates, but he has not heard from the police since then. When contacted Wednesday, Regional Commander 4, Simon McBean, confirmed that the case remains under investigation and that a file has been sent for legal advice. Mohammed, through his lawyers, has strongly denied all claims of sexual misconduct or predatory behavior against the minor or anyone involved in the broadcast. According to their statement, Mohammed is ready, willing, and able to submit to any polygraph test administered by competent professionals, whether at the FBI, Scotland Yard, or any other international agency to corroborate his denial of the allegations. The lawyers expressed concern over aspects of the interview, noting that it is troubling for a minor to appear in a public interview with her face obscured while her parents were absent. They reminded that there are laws governing how such interviews should be conducted and that it is essential to determine whether the minor sought proper help in the appropriate manner. Additionally, Mohammed's attorneys stated that questions ought to be asked regarding whether the minor sought help in the correct sequence. "It is our view that any victim of sexual exploitation, especially a child, should have first engaged the police, then consulted necessary medical and counseling professionals, and only afterward approached the media. If this sequence has not been followed, it raises more questions than answers regarding the validity of the interview." Mother involved in line path hit-and-run dies. Newsroom. 19-year-old Kavita Bedsan, who was critically injured in a hit-and-run accident that resulted in the death of her daughter, passed away on Thursday. Her uncle-in-law, Ganesh Gamani, informed the newsroom that Kavita succumbed to her injuries at the Georgetown Public Hospital around 11 a.m. The accident occurred on Sunday, March 2nd, around 6:30 p.m. on Line Path Public Road in Corentyne, Burbus. Reports indicate that Tushan Suraj Nareen, 17, was riding an electric cycle with his wife, Kavita, and their 9-month-old daughter, Eli Suraj Nareen. All three were residents of Lot 9, 1804 Crabwood Creek, Corentyne, Burbus. They were struck from behind by a white Fielder wagon, causing severe injuries as they fell to the ground. The family was initially transported to Skeldon Public Hospital before being referred to New Amsterdam Public Hospital. Kavita was subsequently transferred to Georgetown Hospital. Tragically, baby Eli succumbed to her injuries while en route around 9:45 a.m. on Monday. While the car involved in the incident has been located, the driver remains at large as investigations continue. Gamani also stated that Tushan is still hospitalized at New Amsterdam Public Hospital. The family was heading to Skeldon to purchase food when tragedy struck. No goal student will be left by the wayside, Jagdeo. Newsroom. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo assured that students who received scholarships through the Guyana Online Academy of Learning (GOAL) program will be supported by the government. His statement came days after GOAL Director Professor Jacob Opadai noted issues between Staffordshire University and the ISDC, two organizations involved in the scholarship initiative. Through GOAL, Guyanese can access several degree programs offered by Staffordshire University via ISDC, a UK education facilitator. However, the existing arrangement between the university and ISDC has faced some challenges. Jagdeo mentioned that Professor Opadai and his team are engaging both parties to resolve the matter for students pursuing Staffordshire degrees. He committed to the government's support, stating, "I want to assure people that we will not leave anyone by the wayside." Professor Opadai and his goal team have already engaged officials from both institutions in hopes of a swift resolution, allowing Guyanese scholarship awardees to continue their studies without interruption. Some feedback is expected by Thursday, with an anticipated resolution in about 2 weeks, according to the goal director. He clarified that the issue is beyond goal's control, providing letters to demonstrate that valid arrangements were in place for goal scholarship awardees. Students were informed of the issue during a virtual town hall meeting on Monday. Professor Opadai indicated that alternatives are being put in place for students. If students wish to continue their studies under the ISDC/Staffordshire arrangement, he has requested 2 weeks to resolve the issue. The goal director remains optimistic that both institutions will return to the existing arrangement. If students choose to change programs, they will receive support. 44 prisoner-to-prisoner attacks occurred in 2024, Prison Director. Director of Prisons, AG, Nicklon Elliott, reported on Thursday that there were a total of 44 prisoner-to-prisoner attacks recorded in 2024, noting a significant reduction in such incidents. Elliott revealed that these incidents occurred across 5 prison locations, which house a population of approximately 2,000 inmates. He made this announcement during the opening of the Prison Service Senior Officers Conference. Prison incidents can encompass a wide range of events, both violent and non-violent, posing serious challenges to the safety and security of prisoners, staff, and the general public. Common forms of these incidents include assaults, riots, escapes, self-harm, and suicide. Elliott believes that the improvement in incident rates is primarily due to the exposure of prisoners to various training opportunities. In 2024 alone, a total of 820 prisoners participated in training programs that included literacy and numeracy, technical and vocational training, stress and anger management, and conflict resolution. Currently, the prison service offers a total of 25 training programs. Overall, Elliott emphasized that 2024 has been a transformative year for the prison service, marked by several developmental changes aligned with the government's manifesto on prison reform. Venezuela is in a weak position. Jagdeo says Guyana still pursuing all diplomatic channels. Newsroom. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo stated that Venezuela is in a weak position, making infantile statements, but affirmed that Guyana remains relentless in its engagement with the International Court of Justice, ICJ, and its international partners. Jagdeo addressed Venezuela's recent actions that have escalated tensions with Guyana and threatened regional peace during his weekly press conference on Thursday. According to the vice president, Venezuela has breached a December 2023 ICJ ruling and the Argyle Declaration with its recent actions, including a plan to hold elections for Guyana's Essequibo region, which Venezuela claims. The Venezuelan election plan, scheduled for May 25, 2025, is viewed by Guyana as a direct violation of the court's order and international law. In a statement issued on Thursday, Guyana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation explained that the electoral plans would result in preparatory acts that could directly affect both the people of Essequibo and Guyana's territorial integrity. As a result, the government is requesting the ICJ to urgently intervene and order Venezuela to cease any actions aimed at further claiming Essequibo and to refrain from any activities that might alter the current status of the area. Jagdeo remarked, "Venezuela is in a weak position," and added, "We will continue with all of our partners. We have strong support from the United States State Department, the United Kingdom government, the French government, and the Caribbean community." Additionally, the vice president described statements from Venezuelan officials regarding Guyana's president Dr. Irfan Ali as infantile. Recent written statements from Venezuelan officials have referred to President Ali as the Caribbean Zelensky, comparing him to Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky. Guyana's current engagement with the ICJ marks the second time the country has sought provisional measures from the World Court. In its first request, filed in late 2023, the court ruled in Guyana's favor, ordering Venezuela to refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute. The government believes that Venezuela's planned elections would directly breach this order, resulting in a clear and unjustified alteration of the status quo. The Guyanese government has expressed serious concern that any further delay in court intervention could cause irreparable harm to its sovereignty and the rights of its citizens living in the Essequibo region. Inmates continuing to engage in criminal activities while incarcerated, Ben. Newsroom. The challenge of crime remains ever present, particularly concerning transnational criminal activities, Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben stated on Thursday. During the opening ceremony of the Guyana Prison Service Senior Officers Conference, Ben acknowledged that the nature of crime has evolved, with inmates continuing to engage in criminal activities even while incarcerated. The nature of crime has changed, resulting in a large number of individuals with different profiles engaging in criminal activities. Men and women in prison appear to be invested in these activities, Ben said. We are not catching all of them, however, we are doing much better than most places. This year's conference, themed Changing Mindsets and Culture for Corrections, highlighted the ongoing challenges facing the prison service, particularly regarding transnational organized crime. Ben emphasized that these crimes, including the importation of firearms, drug trafficking, and murders, extend beyond the Caribbean and have become increasingly violent over time. The issue of transnational crime is perhaps the most violent in the world today, he stated. Given the difficult circumstances, Ben outlined the importance of rehabilitation within the prison system, ensuring that inmates are prepared for reintegration into society upon their release. Supporting this initiative, Director of Prisons, AG Nick Elliott, reported a 14% reduction in recidivism rates for 2024. Additionally, over 800 inmates have benefited from training opportunities provided by both internal and external trainers. Currently, the Guyana Prison Service oversees more than 2,000 inmates across its facilities, with plans for further improvements in infrastructure. Facilities have been enhanced, and new ones are either built or still under construction, Elliott said. Ben concluded by reiterating his belief in the potential for change within the prison system, stating, "I keep saying the people in the prisons were not born like that." Government heads to arbitration in multi-million dispute with gas-to-energy project contractor. News source Guyana. The Guyana government has opted for arbitration to resolve a multi-million-dollar dispute with the contractor responsible for the gas-to-energy project at Wales. The contractor, Line Seca/CH4, initiated proceedings with a dispute adjudication board after failing to reach an agreement with the government of Guyana regarding a claim of $50 million. This claim stems from the project site being delivered to the contractor 3 months late. In a statement today, the government announced that both parties have served notices of dissatisfaction against each other, indicating their intention to proceed with arbitration. According to a release from the Office of the Prime Minister, the arbitration will be administered by the International Chamber of Commerce, ICC, with a venue set in Washington, D.C. All decisions made in the matter will remain confidential. Despite the disputes, both the government of Guyana and LNDCH4 recognize the strategic importance of the project to the Guyanese economy. The contractor has resumed on-site activities, including piling, and preparations for foundation work are imminent. Construction of a cement batching plant is underway, steel for foundation work has been delivered to the site, and a man camp is being established, with over 170 workers currently mobilized, the government stated. The release emphasized that despite the pending arbitration, both parties remain committed to expediting the power plant and natural gas liquids, NGL, plant, with the goal of ensuring the timely relocation of the gas and steam turbines, which are already in Guyana, to the Wales site. The government reiterated its priority to ensure the project is completed as quickly as possible and in accordance with contractual specifications, aiming to bring the power plant and NGL plant into operation to deliver associated benefits to the Guyanese people at the earliest opportunity. The gas-to-energy (GTE) project consists of 3 components: pipeline, power/NGL plant, and transmission line/substations. The pipeline component includes a 250-kilometer, 12-inch pipeline from 2 floating production, storage, and offloading (FPSO) platforms, designed to deliver approximately 50 MCF/d, 1,000 cubic feet per day, of gas to shore, although the pipeline has the capacity for over 120 MCF/d. Guyana seeks international court order to block Venezuela's plans to host elections for governor of Guyana's Essequibo. News source Guyana. Guyana has filed a request with the International Court of Justice seeking provisional measures to prevent Venezuela from proceeding with its plans to host elections for a governor of Guyana's Essequibo region. In a statement this morning, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs emphasized that Essequibo is an integral part of Guyana's national territory, and Venezuela's actions to annex the region violate the International Court's order of December 1, 2023, as well as fundamental norms of international law. Guyana informed the court that the planned Venezuelan elections are scheduled for May 25, 2025, and will inevitably be accompanied by preparatory acts within Guyana's Essequibo region, which could affect the Guyanese population and undermine Guyana's sovereignty over its territory. To preserve its rights, Guyana is requesting that the court orders Venezuela to refrain from any actions that impact its sovereign territory, including the Essequibo region. This marks the second time Guyana has sought provisional measures from the court. The first request resulted in the court's order on December 1, 2023, which stated that, pending a final decision in the case, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela shall refrain from taking any action that would modify the situation currently prevailing in the territory in dispute, whereby the Cooperative Republic of Guyana administers and exercises control over that area. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that Guyana views Venezuela's plan to hold elections in the territory in dispute as a blatant violation of the court's order. Guyana's current request seeks confirmation of this violation from the court, along with an explicit directive for Venezuela to refrain from any electoral activities within or affecting this territory or its population, which consists of Guyanese nationals. Guyana has also requested that the court convene hearings on its request as soon as possible, to ensure that any provisional measures indicated by the court can be issued before serious and irremediable harm to Guyana's rights occurs. Additionally, this week, Guyana filed a protest with Venezuela regarding the incursion of a Venezuelan naval vessel into Guyana's waters and its aggressive actions toward oil ships operating within those waters. Guyana has also informed the international community of Venezuela's latest actions. Cops probing illegal sale of lands by Buxton/Foolis NDC, Nandlal. Kaider News. Police have been called in to investigate allegations regarding the illegal sale of state lands by the Buxton/Foolis Neighborhood Democratic Council, NDC. This revelation was made by Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal SC during his weekly program Issues in the News. Nandlal reported that residents of the NDC raised concerns about these illegal sales. He emphasized that the government had already warned against such activities. "We have made it clear that any local authority that sells state lands will face the full force of the law," he stated, adding that the custodian of state lands is the president. "The Constitution and the laws of Guyana do not empower anyone other than the president to dispose of state lands. These are elected NDC officials, and they are not authorized to do so," Nandlal noted. He confirmed that a report has been made to the Guyana Police Force regarding the sales by the Foolis/Buxton NDC. "I hope that an investigation will commence swiftly, and we can use this as an opportunity to set an example," Nandlal said. The Attorney General warned that the government is actively looking into the illegal sale of state lands by councillors of NDCs and other local authorities. During his program, he indicated that the government is aware of certain NDC councillors engaging in the illegal sale of public lands. He explained that NDCs are not permitted to rent or sell public lands without express permission from the Minister of Local Government. According to Nandlal, these lands include any state or reserve lands within the NDC's jurisdiction. Any councillor involved in renting or selling such land is acting illegally. "We have received information that NDCs are selling lands, and some councillors are purchasing these lands themselves. We intend to take serious action in the coming days," he asserted. The Attorney General emphasized that any unsanctioned rental or sale is illegal, and both buyers and sellers are engaging in fraudulent activities. Nandlal previously issued warnings to defaulting councillors and buyers, stating that failure to heed these warnings would result in severe consequences. He reiterated that any unsanctioned rental or sale is illegal and that both parties involved are committing fraud. The government has received reports indicating that some local authority areas, LAAs, have been selling state lands. These areas, which include NDCs and municipalities, are governed by the Ministry of Local Government. He noted that warning letters had been sent to these bodies from the ministry, yet the issue persists. NDCs have no power to rent or sell state lands, government lands, public lands, or reserved lands within their jurisdictions without the consent or permission of their minister. These individuals were elected to the NDCs. They were not elected to sell public property, Nandlal concluded. Jagdeo says government will not put country at risk by doing business with the Mohammeds. News source Guyana. Vice President Barrett Jagdeo addressed concerns regarding the Mohammed family, asserting that the government of Guyana will not compromise the country's financial system to appease the business magnate Nazar Mohammed and his son, who were sanctioned by the U.S. government last year. On Tuesday, Nazar Mohammed, owner of Mohammed's Enterprises, stated that the effects of the U.S. sanctions are being felt across the family's local operations in the oil and gas, gold mining, quarry, maritime, and construction industries, in addition to their cambio business. He expressed that while the family understands that U.S. companies must cease operations with them, it breaches their constitutional rights as citizens of Guyana to be excluded from doing business in their own country due to these sanctions. The government has cancelled and refused to renew several business licenses for the family. At a Freedom House press conference today, Jagdeo responded to the Mohammed's claims of being targeted by the government. Mr. Mohammed falsely believes that the PPP would risk the future and interests of all the people of this country for him because of some past association with Chetty Jugan. We will never prioritize the interests of a single individual, especially one accused of illegal activities that led to U.S. sanctions, Jagdeo stated. He added that the country's financial system could have been severely impacted if the Mohammed's Cambio license had not been suspended after the U.S. imposed sanctions. We could have faced a complete shutdown of the financial system if the Mohammeds had continued to own a Cambio license. The banks would have cut ties, and our banks could have been subjected to U.S. sanctions as well, he explained. Jagdeo further noted that Guyanese banks could have lost correspondent banking relationships for continuing to do business with the Mohammeds. He emphasized that the government cannot engage in business with the Mohammeds, as it would expose the country to U.S. sanctions. Nazar Mohammed has claimed that, to his knowledge, no one associated with his son Nasruddin or their family has been sanctioned or had their U.S. visas revoked due to their association with the family or their businesses. However, Jagdeo maintained that several individuals have had their visas revoked due to their connections to Nasruddin Mohammed, though he did not disclose any names. It is a gross misrepresentation to claim that only American companies could face sanctions for associating with the Mohammeds. The facts are clear in the release issued by the U.S. government when sanctions were imposed. It states that all transactions by U.S. persons or those transiting the United States are prohibited. So, if you're a non-U.S. citizen but travel to the U.S., you are also subject to these restrictions, the Vice President explained. In announcing the sanctions in June 2024, the U.S. Treasury Department warned that financial institutions and individuals engaging in certain transactions with the sanctioned entities may expose themselves to sanctions or enforcement actions. The prohibitions include the making of any contribution or provision of funds, goods, or services to or for the benefit of any designated person, the U.S. Treasury Department stated. Jagdeo noted that instead of addressing the allegations against them and their companies, Nazar Mohammed has claimed to know of a Guyanese businessman buying gold from Venezuela to sell to the local gold board while depositing hundreds of millions into a local bank. If the Mohammeds have such information, they should provide evidence to the Guyana and U.S. governments, he said. Jagdeo pointed out that Nazar Mohammed did not comment on the legitimacy of the sanctions or the claims made by the U.S. government, which accused him and his associates of smuggling 10,000 kilograms of gold out of Guyana and evading over $50 million in taxes. Nazar Mohammed previously contested the last local government elections as a candidate for the governing People's Progressive Party, and his family has admitted to supporting the PPP/C over the years. Jagdeo emphasized that he will not jeopardize the country for historical political allegiances. The U.S. government sanctioned Nazar Mohammed, his son Nasruddin, and their companies over allegations of money laundering, underdeclaration of gold, bribery, and tax evasion. A permanent secretary, May Thomas, a former PPP executive member, was also sanctioned in relation to similar claims against the Mohammeds and has since been placed on administrative leave by the government.